Until 1989, part of the River Elbe marked the border dividing the two Germanys. Today, this stretch of it is a UNESCO biosphere reserve. The small town of Lenzen is a paradise for nature lovers.
And the conservationists also found a home along the River Elbe. This mansion here was in the times of the GDR a senior residence, and now it belongs to the BUND, which is a German section of the Friends of the Earth International. And the BUND is trying to keep the nature along the former border ever since the border opened, and they call this stripe now the Green Belt.
The BUND has set up both offices and a hotel here. It's an ideal springboard for tourists eager to explore the Elbe and the now invisible Iron Curtain. Since German reunification, Liana Gaidetsis has been working to ensure that the old border zone is preserved as a protected area. Anne-Katrin asks her why conservationists would seek to protect an ugly border strip that ran through the whole country.
The Green Belt is the longest connected biosphere we have here in Germany. It's the only one. And it reaches all the way from the Baltic Sea to the Vogtland, between the two little towns Hof and Plauen. So I think for us there was no question that we would seek to protect this very unique biotope and the many endangered animals and plants in the area.
Back in the days of the Cold War, it was people who were endangered if they strayed too close to the River Elbe. The area beyond the eastern bank was a military zone, and the old ferry service was closed down. The only people crossing the river during the Cold War were those attempting to escape from the communist East. A long border fence was erected on the eastern bank of the Elbe. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, local residents reinstated the old river crossings. The ferry service here in Lenzen resumed operations in April 1990. Erich Butchereit was on board when the ferry made its first post-Cold War crossing. Now he pilots the ferry himself.
Everyone was happy that we could cross the Elbe again. All you saw was overjoyed faces. It was really inspiring to feel this sense of freedom again.
20 years ago, such a trip would have been impossible. Nowadays, the ferry and the prospect of a trip along the Elbe is a tourist attraction. Stefan Reinsch runs guided tours here with canoes that seat up to 10 people. He grew up on the West German side of the border and spent a lot of his childhood by the river. But he remembers it as a no-go area.
So how did you experience the border here when you were a kid?
We were used to it. We grew up with the border. You could see the lights and hear the dogs barking, and the jeeps as well. Canoeing along the Elbe was out of the question.
These days, an East German watchtower is the only remnant of the Cold War. Enjoying a river landscape that was once out of bounds is a special feeling.
That was a very nice tour. We were the only boat on the big River Elbe, and so I did feel like a very exclusive guest of nature, which, as strange as it may sound, wouldn't exist in this way if the border would have never existed.
Unspoilt nature, in part, a rare positive legacy of the Cold War era.